Okay, this is Christina Spencer, and here's my canvas. The word that I put the biggest on this canvas was the word rewarding. This class has been a huge challenge for me. At the beginning, it seemed like it was an overwhelming task to find your own kids to tutor, to contact the parents, to set up meeting times that everything could work, and then on top of that, create the first set of lesson plans that at the beginning seemed like such a huge task. And then knowing too that you had to create several more sets of those too. So at the beginning, this class was a challenge. I thought was going to be a huge challenge. And although there was a lot of work involved in this class, it ended up being very rewarding. I enjoyed tutoring, and at the end I missed it. You know, I worked at the school that I actually tutored the kids from. I work there now. And even the week after, a couple weeks after, they would see the kids in the hallway and they would say, "Oh, are we doing anything tonight?" And I said, No. Remember, our last week was our last week. Oh, and one of the kids even asked me if next year, if I did this, could he be in my group? I said, well, we'll have to wait and see. So it was very rewarding. One of the words that I circled was success, and in that circle was also the word rewarding that I had written in the reflection, or the quick write. It also has, with success, my students have grown. It was nice to be able to see how the kids have changed and how they've grown from the beginning. So those assessments that we gave in the beginning, and then the assessments at the end, my kids grew a ton. And I know it wasn't all me. I know that they have a great teacher at school, and I know they've got support at school, but it made me feel like that I did have a part in that. Another circle that I circled was some things work and some things don't. So while doing those lesson plans, you're creating all this stuff, and you try something new, and maybe it doesn't work, and so you have to change it up a little bit maybe, or just discontinue using something like that at all. But you have to go with the flow. You have to realize when something doesn't work, and you have to make a change or make an adaptation, and it's okay to have failures. I really do think most of the things that I used in my tutoring sessions were successful. There were a few that I wouldn't try again. So my swirly, which was also one of my circles, so I only have two separate circles, but my swirly and one of my circles was around the words that there's no perfect way to teach each student, and each student learns differently. You know, at the beginning of each class, I've always thought, how do I teach these kids reading? How do I teach kids science? How do I teach kids? What's the best way to do it? And in the end, there's no best way to teach kids. You just have to try all different kinds of strategies, all different kinds of techniques, and find what's best for each kid. I was one of those people that this was almost impossible for me to paint over with the dark paint. When Miss Broman said, okay, now except for your circles and your swirly and your main word, cover it all up. And I thought, oh my goodness, what if she said the wrong words and she didn't really mean that? Should I go ahead and watch it forward and watch a little bit advance in the video? But I didn't. I covered it. I painted it over it. And on the back with my reflection that I wrote, as I was painting over everything, I got to thinking how that's probably how a lot of teachers feel like towards the end of the year, when they're printing grade cards, or maybe earlier in the year when they've had parent-teacher conferences, and they're trying to explain to or show parents that those children have grown, that they have shown success, that they have learned, that they're ready to move on, that nobody sees everything that we painted over. Nobody sees the lesson plans. Nobody sees the strategies. Nobody sees the techniques that we used. Everything those parents don't see that stuff. So as I was painting over, that's what I was thinking, that when I become a teacher, at the end of the year, all that stuff that I've done is kind of hidden. It's kind of behind the scenes, under the paint. So I enjoyed this project. Like I said, it was hard for me to paint over that stuff, but the most important words still show. I mean, there was a lot of things that I'd cut out and glued to my board that, yes, they were all important, but the ones that are still showing are, I would say, the most important to me. Thanks. I've enjoyed this class.